welcome to another episode of Viking Women's Basketball with Chelsey Gregg. The Vikings are back home for 2 more this weekend. And, after a tough weekend last weekend, Coach, we talked after the Saturday game, and you just mentioned that you just need to stack days, positive days on top of each other. So can you give us a sense of how you guys have been doing that in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at times when you are results driven and you just look at the W, of course that's what we want. That's the goal. We're ultra competitive. That's what we're working towards. But sometimes when you make that the goal and we don't focus on the little things and how to get there in the process and getting better in those areas, we're not going to get any closer to that goal. And so this week, that's really what it's been about, and getting back in the gym and working on individual work and seeing the ball go in and getting that confidence back in our shots. And just really getting back to fundamentals and basics and just building that confidence up, knowing that we're a good basketball team, that we have good players, and injuries and illness doesn't help, but at the same time, we have opportunities for other players to step up and really get some great experience and minutes. And so that's what we focused on this week, was the positives. Where in film can we see us doing the right things, competing to the end? I thought especially on Thursday after a hot start by Montana, we really played with them and did some great things down the stretch. And so now we have to do that earlier, right? We can't allow anybody to especially come into our place, okay, and do that. And so not allowing teams to get hot right away, but just the details and continuing to stay confident in those times when it's easy to not do that, but really focusing on the process and the things that are going to get us the result that we want.
Nice. And, you mentioned the positives. I didn't want to ignore those from Thursday. It wasn't the result that you wanted, of course, but season high for three-pointers made and, the percentage, and then also a season low turnovers. So there was definitely positives out of Thursday. And you already mentioned, too, winning the second half against Montana. Yeah. So, how can those help boost you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to see that, because sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And at the end of a tough weekend, you can sometimes lose track, right? Or feel like a broken record that, we're only about the moral victories. It's not that. But if we don't focus on those things, we can get lost in the emotion of, man, we're just, we aren't getting it done. And I think the reality is there are a lot of good things that we need to take away. But now, like you've mentioned, you have to stack days. We can't just have a one good quarter or one great half. It has to be continue to work our ways towards a complete game.
Nice. And stepping outside of the games a little bit, we're filming this on National Girls and Women's Sports Day. You're obviously a woman in sports, leading women in sports. So what does this day mean to you, and how important is it to have role models on your team for the next generation of players?
Yeah, I mean, it means the world. What an honor to be in college basketball, in college athletics as a female, being able to be a head coach. I really feel privileged to be able to have that opportunity to empower these young women to achieve their dreams. And I think it's just not too long ago that we didn't have as much publicity around it, to be honest, and just sharing this. And so that's really exciting. I think that our team doesn't take lightly that they are role models and that they have young girls and boys watching, right? And so I think that that's really evident in our games. We had a great crowd Thursday, Saturday. We have a lot of young people at our games and wanting autographs and cheering really loudly, which is just really, really encouraging for the next generation. So when I was growing up a while ago, we didn't have as many of those role models. Like Mia Hamm was it for me. I grew up playing soccer and basketball, and it was Mia Hamm and Michael Jordan. And for me at that time, I didn't feel like I had as many people to look for in that space. And even just to kind of take off topic, but seeing female head coaches now being able to have families is something that has never been talked about before in the space. As a young assistant, I didn't see that path available at all. And now you're seeing Kim Caldwell at Tennessee, and you're seeing a couple others. At VCU, Coach O'Boyle. Like, there's women in these leadership positions, head coaches, that are now able to do both. And I just don't think that's talked about enough as well. And so kind of a neat day to be able to celebrate not just athletics, but even just women in sport in general.
Nice. And the Vikings will be celebrating National Girls and Women's Sports Day on Saturday. We'll talk more about that in our outro. But let's focus on this week now and the games ahead of you. Idaho comes in on Thursday. Really close game. Had the lead in the fourth quarter, held them below 30%. So a lot of positives the last time you played them. What will it take to now, get the W the second time around?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, we shot the ball well. We saw our offense really click against Idaho, so we'll continue to have that. Getting back to trusting our defense, keeping the ball in front. But yeah, what a close game. We're looking back and just take confidence in the way that we played. And now the next step is finishing it. So limiting, they had second chance points, offensive rebounds and then turnovers were really the areas which we need to clean up. So taking care of the basketball, which we've been doing a better job of against some top-ranked defenses, as well as just keeping them off the glass. Those areas is really where they saw their points within the half-court set. We did a nice job. We don't want to change that trajectory, right? They're going to find a way to do something else, but I think the reality is we can take confidence in that performance and let that spur us on to a good showing tomorrow.
Nice. And Eastern Washington comes in on Saturday. They got the better of you guys pretty good on the road, but interestingly, they're winless on the road. So, maybe it's going to be a different game on Saturday, but what will you guys need to do?
Yeah, I think just match their intensity and their work ethic. They're a disciplined team that doesn't run off of just one person. Collectively, they do a nice job of team defense, team offense, having players step up. They had added some nice pieces in the offseason, but I think just being confident in what we can do. I think at their place that we had battled back twice, and then we just didn't have that third run to start that third quarter, and then it got away from us. And so just managing runs. They had some close games with some top teams, and they've had ones that have had a larger margin. And like you said, they're winless on the road, so we want to keep that going.
Yeah, here. All right, there it is. It's Thursday against Idaho at 7 p.m., Saturday, Eastern Washington at 2 p.m. As I mentioned, Saturday we're going to be celebrating National Girls and Women's Sports Day. There will be a pregame clinic in the practice gym from 1 to 2. No registration required. Just come with your ticket, and you can experience a great event, hopefully. Saturday is also Pink Out, so wear pink in honor of anybody fighting breast cancer. But for that and all other information, visit GoVikes.com.
Go Vikes!